Good morning and welcome to the Household of Faith Daily Devotional Videos. Thank you so much for joining us today. As always, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. I am so excited to be with you today, and I just have to say that last week was just a wonderful week for me, refreshing myself on the armor of God, and I hope that you were blessed and encouraged by what I was able to share with you last week concerning the armor. This week we're going to be talking about words of power, and today is April the 30th and of 2019. Believe it or not, it's almost May, and let me be honest, when the Lord gave me this topic to speak on, and he gives me the topics ahead of time, and I write them down and I put them in the order, and I don't really think a lot about them until I get to it. And so when I was thinking last week, words of power, I had no idea how the Lord was going to lead me. But I want to share something with you, and the word we're going to use today is Crossroad. And the reason we're going to be talking about this word is because of something that happened on Sunday when I went to the library. And just briefly, I gone to the library. They're open from 1 to 5. And I went so that I could, make some videos, do a little studying, in a different environment, which I do like to do. And they were closed. The people were there, but they'd had some kind of power outage. There was some kind of a storm that had come through, and they had no power. So I was talking to the lady in the parking lot, because as I passed by, I heard her saying something to someone else, and I was like, "Are you telling me blah, blah, blah?" I was like, "Well, I had, DVDs I wanted to turn in and get some more and everything." So I said, "Well, you know what?" I was like, "Wait around." All right. So as I was talking to her, one of my former co-workers came up from a seasonal job that I just finished, and we greeted each other, and I told him what had happened, and he was going to leave, and then I said, "You know what?" We started talking, and he's like, "Well, you know what, let me just," then it looked like people were going in, so they had power to the lobby area, and people were there to vote, but they had their own little thing for that. So we went in and we sat down in the cafe, because no food or drinks are really allowed inside the proper library except for water. We were sitting at a table and we were talking about the armor of God last week. We were discussing that, and it was, a good topic. And then a young lady came in and sat at a little table across and kind of behind me. And we kept, talking. One of the things I do, I don't care when someone comes along, and when I'm, sharing the word and talking about God and His goodness, I don't stop talking. I don't lower my voice. I keep right on talking, because you know what? I feel in two reasons. One, that person may not know God. I don't know what they know, and I know that if they're there, and if what I'm sharing is a seed, then let it be so. I never know that. You never know who is listening to you. And that's why I say your life is your witness. Everywhere you go, people are watching and listening to you. And we have to really understand that. And as we kept talking, and we got talking about spiritual warfare and things like that, because I was sharing about the warfare, the prayers that we had last week, and one of them was nothing but warfare. And before I had posted that one, I was explaining to the people, for those of you who heard, that this is not a prayer that you should just be saying. You need to know what you're talking about. So I did give that precaution to clarify beforehand. And he had to go back out to his car to get something, and I was like, okay. So I sat there, and I heard in the spirit, greet her, and I turned around and I said, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" She says, "Oh, I'm doing, good," or whatever. And I said, she says, "How are you?" I said, "Well, I'm wonderful," and then I just turned back around, and then I heard the word Crossroads, and I was like, okay. I'm like, that's just one word, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? And so he said, "Ask her," and I was like, okay. So I just turned around and said, "Are you at a crossroads?" She said, I'm hearing." I said, "You know what? I'm hearing in the spirit that you're at a crossroads in your life." And she kind of looked at me, eyes got a little big and blinked, and she was eating her little salad. And I kept hearing, and what I said was what I heard. I said, "Are you facing an important decision right now? You got a decision to make that's really important in your life." And she said, "Oh, I always have decisions to make." And I said, "No, I mean something that is very important that's going to change your life. The decision that you make is going to change your life." And she says, "Well, I have 2 jobs, and I really have to decide which one is the right job to keep." And so then I said, "You know what? What I hear is that one of the jobs looks really good. It looks much better on the surface. It looks much better than the other job." I said, "But looks are deceiving." I said, "You need to take your time and not base a decision on what it looks like." I said, "Because it's not that's not how you should make your decision." I said, "Because you can make the wrong decision because you're fooled by what things look like." And she said, she had said a couple things in between. And what I noticed was that when I asked her about Crossroads, when I asked her, everything I asked her, "Oh, no, not really, not really." And then when the Lord just kept giving me stuff, and then she went on and opened up the 2 jobs that she has, one of them is going to be life-changing, and she needs to make the right decision. If she doesn't, she's going to face some consequences that are not going to be pleasant, and it's a warning. It's a warning for her. And so while I was still talking to her, my associate came back, and he was kind of listening, and we went on inside. They opened up the library. We went on inside, and he was going to get on the Mac, and I was just going to get a table and plug in my laptop and everything. And so then I went and got my movies and stuff, but because the systems were down, I had to go up to the desk for them to check my stuff in and check it out. And so I got in line, and then he was coming up, and then he was talking to a woman that was in line behind me, and she looked a little uncomfortable. And while they were talking, and kind of like almost angry. And so they were talking, and I just I was like, okay. I kind of looked, and I was like, okay. I kept on, I went about my business. And then later on, he told me that was his ex-wife. I was like, oh, okay. And you know what? Most relationships don't end well. And whether you're a believer or not, and sadly for the believers, a lot of marriages don't end well, and when both profess Christ. But that is something that we have to deal with. And I'm not trying to share in his business, but when the Holy Spirit was talking about the cross, when I was and I went later on after everything was over, and I sat down to start to putting some notes together for this, and that's when the word Crossroads came up. And said, no, it wasn't just for the young lady, it's for him, and it's for you. Because I'm at a crossroads, and it's just been like no road. It seems like, what decision do I make? There's some things that I need to do, but I don't want to make the wrong decision either. And in his case, the Lord has told him something that he needs to do, and he is finding it hard to do. And I was like, well, you need to ask the Lord to help you with that. I said, because if you ask him to help you, he will help you through it. I said, but if he's already told you, you can't move past where you are until you handle this. I said, I've been there. And so what decision that you make and how you deal with that, so I was like, wow, Lord, that's amazing. And as I was writing it down, and I said that, I keep hearing these 2 words, patiently enduring. I was like, oh man, that word just kept coming up, and I was listening to an app I got on my phone for the New Living Translation Bible, and I'm telling you, everything that I'm listening to is saying something about patiently enduring. I was like, okay, I got you. So no matter what's going on in your life, we all face crossroads at one point or another. A decision that we have to make that is going to, it's like make or break us. You know, it's going to either propel us forward or it's going to send us spiraling backward. And as believers in Christ, we cannot afford to go backwards, because the ground that you lose, you still have to go forward, and you have to cover the same ground all over again. And trust me, that is not pleasant. All right. So I want to leave you today with the decision making that you have to do when those of us who are at crossroads right now, we need to really seek the Lord. We need to really hear what He's telling us to do, because time is short. And I'm going to tell you right now, as we move forward, something that the Lord is really impressing upon me is that time is short. Time is much shorter than we think it is. We do not have as much time as we think we have to get ourselves right. I'm not talking about the events in the world. I'm talking about on a personal level. This is what God is talking about. God is talking about to His people on a personal level what we need to get done, what we have to accomplish. Okay? Well, we'll see you tomorrow.